Marc Henry back on the On Your Mark Show on 105.4 RPWP, the PulseRadio.com, and the On Your Mark Show YouTube channel. Man, got a big-time guest here. One of the top receivers in the state in the class of 2023, Rickey Gonzalez II, San Antonio, Texas, man. Come on in, Rickey. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. Appreciate you joining me here. Now, let's talk about you just a little bit, man. How did you get, to playing football? How did you start? And then we'll talk about where you go to school at and how was the football season for you this past year?
Well, I started playing football in 7th grade. Actually, I had 1 year little flag in kindergarten, but my parents didn't really let me after that because they didn't want me to get injured. But my 7th grade year, I finally managed to, convince my mom to let me do it. But she wasn't really down with that, so she found the most competitive club team she could find in the city. It ended up being the Outlaws. And she talked to the owner of the Outlaws at a Whole Foods for 2 hours and was like, hey, if you want to get him discouraged, if you want to get on him a little bit more than the other kids, I'm totally fine with that because I don't want him to do this anyways. But it ended up backfiring on her because that team was so competitive, and that
no doubt
it just fire for football. It just made me want to become a contributor to the team, the next season. So that's how I started. Yeah. So
most definitely shout out to the Outlaws, man. One of the better programs in the country, not just in the state, well renowned. And those guys do a great job. And obviously that helped propel you to where you are today. Now let's talk about some of the things that you're doing now. You left Brandeis, you're at a new school now. The season was pretty successful for you last year. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, as a team, I'm obviously not at Brandeis anymore, but as a team, we didn't get our goal that we wanted because we at least wanted to compete for playoff spot. We got that taken from us in our last game. But, personally, I feel like I did what I needed to do. There's always room for improvement, but I feel like I did what I needed to do to put myself where I want to be right now. So, but, now it's just the 7-on-7 season and next season and just focus on that. So.
Now let's dive into the receiver position a little bit. It's a receiver position is a position on the football team that gets a lot of glory, but there's a lot of things that you go into it behind the scenes. There's footwork. You have to be able to get off of coverage. You have to be able to read coverages and have a connection with the quarterback as well. Talk about some of those things that you work on in your game to be a better receiver.
Well, definitely I try to be a well-rounded receiver. Try to strengths and get my weaknesses up. But I would say, like you were saying, definitely knowing coverages. I feel like a lot of receivers think only Qs should know coverages, but it's you got to know, at least you got to know what the corner and the safety on your side of the ball is doing, because there's a million different ways to run a route. So you got to know how you're going to run the route, and it helps you got to know coverages because you got to know, there's these gaps in the coverages, so that'll help me settle in so I can get open. So I feel like that's really important aspect. Another important aspect, like you said, route running, that's really important too. You got to be able to get out of your breaks the most efficiently so you can beat the DB. You don't want to be bleeding out of your breaks and stuff. So those two would definitely be the most important. But I try to work on everything, catching speed, knowing coverages, route running, all that. So, yeah.
Most definitely. And it's right now in Texas, the hot topic in football-wise is 7-on-7. It's on and popping. Multiple tournaments in the state this week. A couple of big ones in Houston. They had a couple of big one, Champion 7v7. Shout out to my guys, Jonathan Mumphrey and those guys over there a couple of weeks ago in the San Antonio area that went down. Shout out to my guys, R.L. Martin and True Exposure as well. Who do you play for, and how's that going for you?
I play for Full Quarter Pressure. We a new team out of San Antonio. It's going pretty good right now. We went to our first tournament last week. It didn't go how we wanted. But, it was a learning experience for us, time all playing together. But, I feel like we're going to another tournament this week, and I feel like we'll be a lot better, definitely a lot more developed.
Now, how does 7-on-7 contribute to your game? This is all passing for some people that don't know. The wide receivers, quarterbacks, DBs, and linebackers, they get a lot of work, tight ends. This is big time. It's fast. It's fast-paced. It's very competitive. definitely in your area, definitely in the state of Texas. How does that contribute to when you go back to your, spring football is definitely going to happen this year in high school and get you ready for the fall?
Well, I think 7-on-7, me personally, definitely helped my game a lot. I started playing last year, and last year I wasn't really trying to look into. I was just trying to run my route. But 7-on-7, really not. It's really not a lot of one-on-ones. It's really a lot about knowing the coverages and trying to settle in the holes to make sure you're open for the cue. So I feel like that's really helped me a lot. Just trying to coverage, just trying to settle in the holes, and then just the competition. I mean, you go to these tournaments in Texas, you got 3, 4, 5 stars dudes with offers everywhere. So, you get to see what level you want. You get to see if you're on the same level as them. You get to see what you got to improve on. So it's definitely a lot, I would say.
Most definitely, man. It's one of the more competitive sports now. We've been going through this COVID thing, and it's very important for an exposure type thing as well. Guys like myself, we're hovering around, all the media attention that these things get. Is easy if you do well to get seen, and you're on your way already. One of the top ranked in the state, not just in your area, in the class of 23 as a wide receiver. Now let's talk about track. You play more than one sport. Definitely track. Multi-sport athletes, what colleges are looking for. Coaches love it. How's that contributing to your game and make you better as well?
I definitely think track definitely helped my game a lot too. I mean, in general, it's really good conditioning for you, especially if you're like a 300, 400 sprinter. You got to be in tip top shape for that. And then, it teaches you how to run efficiently, definitely teaches you how to run when you're tired. Because when you get in that fourth quarter and, you drenched in sweat, you got to pick up your knees, keep your chest high so you can, finish the play. So I definitely think it's helped me a lot, just, getting me in shape. And it also just teaches you how to become faster. So, yeah.
Most definitely, Ricky, you're on your way. Again, this is Rickey Gonzalez from the San Antonio area, one of the top receivers in the state in the class of 2023. Now, what goes along with being an athlete? First, a student athlete. Talk about some of your favorite classes and what you're doing in the classroom as well.
I would say I got like 2 favorite classes. One would definitely be biology, because I just like learning about I like doing like little science experiments and stuff, dissecting things. And then the other one would be personal finance, because I feel like it's really important no matter what career path I take, no matter if it's math, science, English, I'm always going to have to know how to manage my money. I feel like it's a really important aspect people kind of overlook when you talk about school. So, but yeah.
Most definitely, and that's a great way to go into it, man. Because that's a lot of times, we the biggest thing that we do in general, man, we mismanage money. You see something you want it right away. Does it really mean that you want it? Can you get it? Can you afford it? Is the timing right for you to get it, especially big splash things, but that's great, man. I love to hear things like that. And college wise, what are you going to be looking for in a college? Are you looking for a certain degree? Do you know what you want to study?
Now I'm really interested in business. I feel like after football is all over, I still like to be around sports. I don't think really broadcasting will be my thing. So, probably try to get into like sports management, try to be like an agent, something like that. So I can still stay in the game, but, make a little bread on the side. And then, yeah, definitely that. That's something I'm really interested in when I go to college to major in.
Most definitely. You're on your way, man. Get Rickey Gonzalez out of the San Antonio area. Now, San Antonio, man, is in my opinion, one of the most slept on areas for just high school football. I'm in the Dallas area, grew up in Houston. Those are the two that, everybody talks about those areas. But, you got Cibolo Steels, the Converse Judsons, between San Antonio and Austin, there's a lot of good football going on. Mm-hmm. What do the guys down there in San Antonio say about repping that area?
Man, I mean, that's a conversation we have, back in club days. That's rep the 210. That's we had every practice, because, down here we just feel like we just get overlooked by, Dallas and Houston. We feel like that's only where people try to recruit. But I mean, there's a lot of dogs down here. There's a lot of good football players down here that really, get overlooked for the Dallas and Houston players. But
well, definitely you're leading the charge for your class in 2023 of making some noise, and you're doing it, man. Now, before we let you go, we're going to let you kick some shout outs and also tell everybody where they can find you at on social media, where they can check your huddle out, check out some film on you.
Yes, sir. Well, first I'd like to shout out my 7-on-7 coach, Darrell Miller. He's also my trainer. I'd like to shout out Ernest Cutler. He's always looking out for me, always trying to get good opportunities. Shout out my QB at Antonian, Sam Garrett. I shout out my 7-on-7 QBs, Nate Alvarez and Nico Garcia. And shout out Antonian, Coach Padron, Coach Fushek. So, yes, sir. And then y'all can find me on Twitter at 210__Showtime and on Instagram at Rickey Gonzalez with a Z at the end. I.
Most definitely. One of the top receivers in the class of 2023. Definitely a marked man in San Antonio. If you don't know him, get to know him, man. Here on the On Your Mark Show, we're going to take a small break here on 105.4 RPWP, thepulseradio.com.